is a journey into a world that loves knows no limits, where swinging fun meets love, hearts entwined in their vivid.
Hello, we are the Polyquad Life Podcast. I'm Charlie, and joining me on this beautiful, lazy Sunday afternoon are my quad partners. We have Marie,
Hi.
we have Ray,
Hello.
and we have Nicole.
Hello.
So, on today's episode, the quad is going to discuss some lifestyle terms that we widely use and that are widely used in the lifestyle. This kind of stems from conversation that I actually had last night while we were out at a vanilla bar, and some people are all like, "What are you talking about?" And then we're going to give a life update and answer some questions that were submitted. So we'll dive into it.
Well, first I want to say foremost, this list is not all inclusive.
No.
There are thousands of terms out there. These are ones that we use a lot on the podcast and in our everyday life.
Yeah. So the first one is obviously swinging, and we've covered what swinging and polyamory is, but we'll just kind of do a quick definition of it. It is a consensual, non-monogamous lifestyle where committed couples engage in sexual activities with other people, either together or separately. It is characterized by mutual consent and communication. So,
Yeah,
and,
consent.
and then that's it.
Consent.
Yeah,
That is
Consent.
a big
Yeah.
part, an actual consent, not my wife doesn't know I'm here or vice versa.
Yeah.
right. Like you can't tell my wife this happened, and it's like, hold
A
on,
red
nope.
flag. Yeah. Then polyamory is kind of a subset of ethical non-monogamy. And it is a practice of having or being open to multiple consensual and ethical romantic relationships simultaneously. We're emphasizing honest and consent in that phrase. It is not cheating, and all partners are aware of all other connections.
Right.
Yeah.
And polyamory is not, it doesn't always look like what we have.
Yeah, it could be different. There can be
Yeah.
thruples, quads, it can be, you know, solo dating.
Right.
Right. I mean, you could be married to your spouse and your spouse has another girlfriend. That could also be, in the polyamory realm. The two of you can be dating someone else together.
Mhm.
And that partner might also have other partners. Like polyamory is not inclusive to specific
Yeah.
situations.
Right. And
So
it's a
if you have multiple partners that, you have the, romantic, relationship with. It kinda falls under the polyamory, um, realm.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
big
the key
umbrella.
part of the definition
right.
is
It's a very deep, I guess, a very deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What I mean, we all interact with each other, and that I know people that are polyamorous that the other partners really do not interact with each other. They know of them, but there's no real interaction there.
Interaction. Yeah,
Right.
and you can dive into a lot of polyamory terms like kitchen table polyamory. There's a whole
Yeah. We're not gonna go
research.
down
We're
that.
not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
No.
We're just gonna give it a broad explanation because we did meet some people last night that were vanilla, and they were kinda like, "What's the difference?" I was explaining it to them, and they were like, "Oh, okay. So not everyone's swinging is
Yeah.
polyamory, not everyone's polyamory is swinging." And I was like, "Correct."
Yeah. I mean, it's a lifestyle,
Yeah,
like any kind of lifestyle. If you don't know, you don't know. You
yeah.
ask
Ask
questions.
questions.
Yeah.
So, some more, detailed terms that we've used, um, is a bull. A bull is a sexually dominant male who engages in sexual activities. I know Ray's been a bull before.
Yeah.
They're more common than unicorns, which we'll get to a unicorn next.
Mhm.
But it's mostly for hot wifing out there that couples are looking for a bull.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And the big part with a bull is finding someone that understands that role and still respects that couple.
yes.
There's a lot of males out there that think they are bulls, but they have no respect for the other male and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I have met, people, and we were actually talking to a bull, um, but then, we had planned that you set up things and talked about things, and then all of a sudden he messaged me privately. He's like, "Well, I don't want right there. That's not a bull."
No, that's not a bull.
Yeah.
No. No, you gotta be very open. That leads us to unicorn, which they're unicorns because they're rare. Sometimes they don't exist, but they do exist. Is a female in the lifestyle that plays alone with another couple. They're usually bisexual, not always
Mhm.
bisexual. But those are very rare. But we have been lucky to have our fair share of unicorns.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like people trust us too. And
yeah.
some of those unicorns, you know, seek us out because they want to have fun. They don't want to get in a romantic relationship,
Hmm.
but they want to have fun and they know that that's all it is. So, um, some unicorns think they're unicorns, but they're actually looking for a relationship.
Yes.
A true unicorn is not looking for a relationship. If it happens upon a relationship, that's fine. Um, but most unicorns are, out there to have fun with both partners in the couple. Like I said, you can be a unicorn and be in a relationship, but most of them aren't looking for a relationship. That's why they're not in a relationship.
Yes. Yes. So we'll get to types of play styles next here. We have mentioned it several times on the podcast, and the different swapping levels, I would say. So the first is a soft swap. A soft swap or soft swinging is a practice where couples engage in sexual intimacy, such as kissing, touching, oral sex with other people, but strictly avoid full intercourse.
Right? No
No
penetration.
penetration.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people get into the lifestyle, start off soft swapping.
Yeah,
I think it's,
that's
get your toes a little wet
Hmm.
in the water to see if it feels right or how you feel
See
about
how you
it.
react to it afterwards.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
you react, how your jealousy level is, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that jealousy level, that factor is always, is always
Yeah.
there. It's how you handle it, and sometimes you have to be in this lifestyle for a long time before you know how to handle that jealousy part, and that comes with the communicate. I'm sorry, the communication that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Um, and that leads us, I would say the next level up from soft swap will be parallel play. And
yeah,
parallel play is basically you play with your partner next to another
another
Couple
another
or
couple,
couple.
couples.
couples, but you don't swap in any way, shape, or form. But they're next to them. You might hold hands. Might
Touch,
touch,
kiss.
kiss. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the next step of level of play and
Yeah.
lifestyle.
And a lot of people, that's all they do
Yeah, it
is
is.
parallel
Yeah,
play.
sometimes that's all they
It's
do.
very erotic
Yeah.
to them, and that's all they wanna do. Um, but you also have some couples that try to push that boundary,
Hmm.
and that's very important that you don't,
Especially in the heat of the moment.
especially in the heat of the
Yeah.
moment, because then you'll regret it later.
Yes.
You never make a decision in the heat of the moment, especially whenever it comes to, sexual partners, other than, your spouse. You never make that decision on the
Right.
fly.
Right. Because then you run the risk of violating your own boundaries
Right.
and potentially somebody else's.
Absolutely, and I've
yeah.
talked about that before. You don't change your boundaries in the heat of the moment.
And I mean, we have been there and we have learned from that where the heat of the moment and we just went with it. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, wait, no,
That did not work out
that
well.
didn't work out well. Okay, we need to reprocess this.
Yeah, it could cause a lot of issues, but all right, we digress. Go ahead.
No, we're good. And then finally you get to full swap where everybody's doing everybody.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
No.
that does.
But no, full swap is a term used in swinging that refers to a scenario where couples will actually swap partners and there will be penetration.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could be in a sexual situation where there's multiple couples.
Yes.
It doesn't mean, say, for instance, my husband isn't with your wife. My husband might be with the other couple's wife,
Mhm.
and your wife is with their partner.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And then that kind of goes down to a rabbit hole where you can be in the same room or you can be in different rooms.
right.
And that all builds on your comfortable level and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and then after all the play is done, we get to Nicole's favorite thing, which is aftercare. And I
Absolutely.
got yelled at last night.
You did.
Mhm. Yes, you did.
You like jumped up and was fucking out. I'm like, where the hell did he go?
Yeah, I got yelled at, and I did not do appropriate aftercare last night.
There was no aftercare. It was not appropriate. There was no aftercare.
I'm telling on myself, world. I'm telling on myself. So aftercare is vital for providing emotional and physical support to partners after an intense swinging or sexual activities. And it's
It's not even it doesn't even have to be intense.
no, yeah,
Just, it doesn't just have to be with your partner, checking in with the other couple, with the other person that you played with. It's very important because you doesn't mean that you have to create a bond with them,
mhm,
but you also want to make them feel safe with you.
yes,
And make
Um,
them feel like and it helps them make them feel like a person as well,
right.
like
Not just a sex
yeah,
toy.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are some people where it's like, this is what I'm going to do after this. It's over.
yeah,
And you guys agree to that. And that's one of their fantasies. It's their dynamic, whatever. But you also have to make sure that just because that's your dynamic, that it's not the other person's dynamic. If you kind of get what I'm saying, because that might be your dynamic. You need to be upfront with someone about that dynamic. Like, hey, this is what I do, you know, I'm not gonna stick around and, make sure you're okay after. Is that okay? Is that your dynamic? And it gives them a chance to say, I don't know how I feel about that.
Gives them a chance to make an informed decision.
Right.
And with some couples, the aftercare is part of they
The debrief.
the aftercare is part of the reconnection for the
Yeah.
Right.
primary couple.
Right.
Yes.
So you also you don't want I don't wanna be doing aftercare with somebody when that's part of the reconnection.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's once again comes down to communication, not just with your partner, but other partners that you're playing with. So
yeah. So yeah, those are some terms we just wanted to go over. Like we had some questions last night when we were out, and just wanted to address them. And some loose terms that we use regularly. So let's
and
move on.
once again, I'm gonna say this is not all inclusive.
No, no, we could
We
go.
could sit here for days and talk
Yeah,
about
terms and
terms and
going down
yeah.
rabbit holes for what different terms mean and the
If you
whole
have a
9 yards.
question about a term that you don't
Yeah, email
understand,
us
yeah, email us, send us a
on
message.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem.
If we don't know,
And
we will research it.
and
So that's
also make sure that when you're talking with people, because some people use these terms in different ways, make sure
you understand.
understand how they're using it.
Right.
That way you're not misleading in a group chat or something like that of what's going on.
That's a good
Right.
point.
So yeah, so let's talk life update. When it's been a minute since we pulled out the podcast gear.
Yeah, we
Uh,
apologize.
it's
Work's been super crazy. Life's been super crazy.
life's just been super crazy. We've been out a few times. We've had our friends J and K over. Shout out to J and K.
Whoop, whoop,
Hey.
hey.
We've had them over a couple times and hung out. We love them to death. Big podcast listeners, and I know Kay's been on me about when's the next episode coming out. So here
Yeah.
it is.
Believe it or not,
Uh,
we have one, and apparently, um, we sounded bad. I guess maybe the connection wasn't
yeah,
good or
the connection
something.
wasn't
Yeah.
too good. I had some technical difficulties, but let's start with this is work backwards. Last night we went out Yellow Rose Country Bar again,
In
did some
Dayton,
line dancing.
I got out there a couple times, actually. It was
Yeah.
actually kinda funny. I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm standing there talking, and the DJ comes over the thing, is like, "All you swingers, get out
Yeah,
here to the
on
floor.
dance
You know
floor.
where you're at."
Yeah.
And you could see other people, like, looking around very confused, and I was like, "Oh, that's us."
Well, no, the biggest kick I got there is I think that was the point that the dance floor got the fullest the entire night.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was like
We all
not that the
just
place was empty, but it was just
Yeah,
like,
in fact, it was so full that I wasn't about to go out there, so I just danced over to the side.
I'm already doing a little Cupid shuffle off the dance floor.
was she
Yeah.
all by herself? I'm sure there was other people over there with
Yeah,
you
there were other
because
people
we
over
couldn't all
there.
fit up there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it got to the point because a lot of people that don't really know that dance, in the lifestyle were like, "That's us, we gotta go out there."
Yeah.
They had no idea what they were doing, so I
Yeah, it
taught a couple
was
people on the fly.
yeah, it was a meet and greet at the bar for, the original Swingsters that we're a part
Yes,
of.
love them.
Love them to death. Shout out to you guys. We had a blast. It was a good time.
Yeah,
Always a good time.
he was
So
definitely pouring 'em strong last night, the bartender
Ooh,
was.
that
Yeah.
"Oh, yes,
bartender,
he definitely was."
he
He
earned he earned his tip.
he did, he earned all of his tips, and it
Yeah.
didn't come from me.
He probably saw more boobs that night than he has in all.
Oh, yeah, like, he loved it. I mean, he was our bartender the last time we were at Yellow Rose with Original Swingstas. And you could just tell as the night was going, he was like, "I fucking love this."
Yeah.
And to add to it, he's a cute older gentleman, and alls I was thinking to myself is, "Thank goodness he appears to be in pretty good physical shape because somebody might have given him a heart attack."
In a good
Well, he's
way.
Good
asking for
way.
it a little bit because he does have a sign up that says,
Yes.
"Free shots, for boobs."
And he and
Eh,
he he has a small collection of bras.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
I
hanging up
didn't
hanging
see
there.
off
that.
Yeah.
one of the animal
Antlers.
heads, one of the off their
Okay.
antlers.
That
Yeah.
must be his main bar that he works at then,
Yeah.
because Yellow Rose has several little
Bars.
bars. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have their main bar, which is pretty large, it's
Yeah.
pretty long, but then they have several different smaller ones around. And then the area that we were in, of course, had our own private bar. Last time that we went, a f a few people, made their way over there and had no idea what they were getting into. Even though there was nothing sexual going on or anything else, like, you can see
It happened last night too.
no,
Yeah.
I did it
The
definitely happened
conversation
last night.
the people overhearing some of our conversations about things. I think we were out there
Yeah,
smoking, and this one guy was, like, looking at us because we were talking about, the old Club Sunday and how, we
that's it.
miss it and just miss having that, common place that we all used to go.
Yeah.
And you could tell they're like, "Is he" they're talking about a sex club. And you get to see him talking to his friends, and they're like, "I think they're
Oh,
swingers."
Yeah, and
I
they
know
were they were a little bit younger guys too,
Yeah.
so they were
yeah.
probably like, "Really?
Uh,
This is a thing?"
yeah.
Well, I was standing over by the bathroom talking to somebody, and, I made out with Kay,
Mhm.
and then I turned around and made out with Ray, and then I think I went to Jay, and you could just see the people behind us like,
Yeah.
"What in the world is going on there?"
Yeah. Yeah, and there were people that I saw come through a few times, and then they would glance at each other, and I'm pretty sure it was where they had come through before, and somebody was making out with somebody, and now there was somebody else making out with that somebody, so
They're like, "This is gonna be a fight," and then it wasn't. Yeah.
No.
No, of course not. No, there
Oh,
was a
no,
fight,
there was a
but it
fight.
wasn't between the
It
swingers,
wasn't
so
between the swingers, it was all vanilla, and I happened to walk right through it, and I had to go to the bathroom.
Diffused that
I
fight.
did, I did. I was like, "Excuse me, gentlemen, can you hold your punches for a second? I gotta get to the bathroom."
Uh,
I did.
what
I
is
walked you were out on the dance floor,
Oh,
and
okay.
these two guys were trying to square off, and I was like and they were in my way to get to the bathroom, and I
Yeah.
had to go to the bathroom, and I said just literally walked through them, put my hands up, said, "Hold on, boys, I gotta go to the bathroom. Can I
And
get
they
through here?"
stop?
And they just stopped, and then they looked at me, and then the bouncer came over and was, like, shaking his head like, "Guys, get out of here." And then he looked at me, and he was like, "Way to break it up." And I was like, "I am breaking up anything. I gotta go to the bathroom."
Yeah, so we went to Yellow Rose last night, always a great time.
Always a great time.
Connected with other couples.
Yeah.
We've talked to 'em before, but never had that deeper, conversation. It was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, hey, beautiful, love your tits,
Yeah.
love, this, that. Hey, you're cute." We got several, new friend requests last night, sent back and forth.
Mhm.
I lost my phone at one point, yeah, realized it was in my back pocket, but remember the bartender was pouring them strong. So I would always tell people, "Get out your phone." If it was a guy, I would have them request Ray, of course. And if it was a female, they would request me. So that's just our dynamic to start out with. My husband has to be fully aware,
Mhm.
my quad partners have to be aware, things
Group
like that.
chats. We love group
Group
chats.
chats. Yeah, which is
Um,
not for everybody,
no,
but it works for us. That's our dynamic. So, yeah, we had a blast last night.
we had a blast, and then last weekend, you 2 and J and K went to Shenandoah concert.
It was 2 weeks
Was
ago.
it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Man,
it
this
was
is
2 weeks ago.
how fast time moves.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, you guys went out and had a good time at Shenandoah.
Yeah, we went to Lori's Roadhouse, with some friends of ours. So, Ray and I had tickets, to Shenandoah, and concert bucket list for me. I'm surprised they're still alive.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they're
Yeah,
still
that's very
alive.
surprising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they put on a great show, but, we had invited other couples, not as a date or anything, but then it wound up being that there was only one couple going, it was J and K,
Yep.
wound up being a date, we didn't play or anything else like that, we just went out and had fun, danced, swapped partners as far as dancing,
Mhm.
things like that. Nothing sexual happened. Did they come back here afterwards? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
they
guys
came back
came
here.
everybody
That's
came
so
back here and
I mean, we came back, of course, but I couldn't remember if they came back.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, they did.
yeah, we hung out for a little while longer until everybody was
Ready to
ready to
crash.
crash and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
went to sleep.
yeah. Well, Friday night, J and K came over, and we were all
Yeah.
sitting around talking, drinking, laughing. Wound up being Kay and Marie fell asleep on the couch, not together, just both on the couch.
You guys were both out. It was fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jay and I were talking in the kitchen, and we looked over and we're like, "Yeah, they're passed out. I think one's snoring." "Yep.
yeah, that was definitely Kay.
Yeah, definitely K."
Yeah,
He didn't have his CPAP on.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
I came.
CPAP buddies
Yeah.
stick together,
So I came
or as
in.
Ray calls us, his life support buddies.
Life
Yeah.
support, yep.
So I came in, I think I was outside or in the bathroom or whatever, and I hear Kay over there snoring, and I'm like, "Okay, let me go get their bed set
Yeah.
up." Because whenever they stay over, we put an air mattress in our room, mine and Ray's room. It's a big room, lots of room to put one in there. It's not crowded, but I went up there, got that set up, got his CPAP set up, full of water, literally right there by his side. I come down and I was like, "Hey, it's time to go to bed," and literally pulled his glasses off of him, set it to the side, and took his ass upstairs. He's like, "I gotta set up my CPAP." And I was like, "It's already done. Just lay down and put your fucking mask on."
And then Nicole came down here and had to try and convince me that it was time to go to bed too. I'm starting to think she's the official "it's time to go to bed" person. I hear her say that
Yeah.
more often than not. It's
Yeah, it's
like,
like, "It's time to go to bed. Are you gonna do me first
That
or"
happened last
That happened
night.
Yeah, that
last
was
night.
last
She was
night.
like, "I need laid, and then I need my CPAP." Shit swingers say right there.
Yeah, shit swingers say, Marie's like, "You go for it." And then both of the guys were like, "Yep, we're
Yep,
on it."
we're on
And
it.
went upstairs and I laid down and actually wound up calling J and K on video chat. Because her and I were talking. I was like, "Yeah, I'm drunk. I can't type." So I call. And they had stayed at a hotel with 2 other couples last night from
Mhm.
Yellow Rose. They had planned this before. Wound up being that one of the couples there, the guy wound up ordering like $200 worth of tacos last night
Taco Bell.
from
Yeah,
Taco Bell. Half of them got sent to their house,
not in the hotel.
not the hotel, so they
Well,
had to
someone
reorder.
alcohol was involved.
Alcohol is definitely
so
involved.
here's the tip. Don't order tacos while you're
At least check
Or
the address.
yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say,
Well,
when you are somewhere
and
besides
and
home, pay
here's the
attention to
funny
the
thing,
address.
depending on the app that you're using, DoorDash will tell you, "You seem a little far
Far
away
away.
from this place." That's your clue right there to double check what address you have put
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
So every time I kept trying to yell at him over the phone, he'd look at me and say, "You want a taco?" Ray told me I should have said, "Should I go to your house and get it?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we would have had to have driven like 30 minutes to get tacos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and let's face it, The raccoons had them by then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah,
At
the
that
Critters
raccoons
at
are
got a
that
hold
at
of
that
them.
Woo!
time of night,
Yeah.
raccoons already had those tacos.
I'm gonna have
Rappers
to
were everywhere.
I'm gonna have to reach out to him and say, "Hey, did you get there and your tacos were actually there?" So, yes, you know who you are. Do not order tacos drunk anymore, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, that leads us to some questions.
Hold on. We're still doing life
Yeah.
updates.
Oh,
What are we doing in 3 weeks' time?
Yeah, you didn't back all the way up there, dear. You said, "Let's start at the bottom or most recent," and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. What we doing in 3 weeks?
What are we doing in 3
Our
weeks?
commitment
Our commitment
ceremony and our
ceremony.
cruise.
Yay.
Hey, we are getting excited.
We are.
The countdown is real now.
the countdown is so real that somebody is already packed.
I'm not pa no, I am
You're
not packed.
packed?
No, I am not packed. The suitcases are out.
And there's plenty of stuff laying right by them.
But as I do laundry for the next 3 weeks and the stuff I wanna take on the cruise, I am setting aside so I know what to
And
pack.
what
I
does
mean,
that say about your wardrobe? You
you
have
have
too many
way too many
clothes
clothes.
because
Probably.
most of my stuff I will need to wear before.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good idea, in theory. Ray and I bring clothes back and forth. We have clothes here that stay
Yeah.
here, but sometimes we come up I mean, most of the time we come up right after Ray gets off work, so he's showing up in his work uniform, has to get a shower, and then he leaves in regular clothes, so a lot of his clothes get taken back to our
They have
house.
migrated back home.
They
Yeah, yeah.
have.
They
I make
flew
a point
south
of
for the
trying
winter.
to make a point. I don't know if that needs to go back. That
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's a good thought in theory. Maybe we should get out a notebook when we figure out what we wanna take, write it down
There we
instead
go.
of like Charlie over here. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna throw that in there."
Yep.
That's how I pack, but I won't make that list until maybe a day or 2 before.
Mm,
Marie's actually taking the day off before we leave
so she can pack.
so she can pack.
That is because sometime in the next 3 weeks, sometime, I'm guessing by the length of the trip and how far we have to travel, it'll be roughly a week, that my suitcases will start appearing on our bed, open. It
Every
is
day.
a it and they will get there every day. I will go to bed at night, I will remove them, I will come back through our bedroom the next day to go to the restroom or something,
And a fairy has put them back on the
and
bed.
there'll be those suitcases sitting there again wide open like, "Pack me, pack me." Charlie never says a word, but he will just keep persistently putting those suitcases.
just
Man, I'm getting
gentle
called out.
encouragement.
You are, but we love you for it.
Gentle encouragement.
That's right.
But we love you for it.
Just for that, I'll start putting them out 2 weeks early.
Oh,
Not
shit.
gonna it's not gonna have any other end result. That is not gonna change what's gonna
It's gonna be
happen.
put on top of the laundry that she still needs to put away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she'll pick it up whenever it falls over.
So, yeah, no kidding.
We're about at that point.
So we're excited for this commitment ceremony. We had our talk with the people
Efficient.
efficient,
Mhm.
and
So Marie and I already have our
I
dresses.
have the
Super
dresses.
excited. They're beautiful. Charlie, you have your whole outfit, right? Ray has his shorts. We still need to find him a shirt that kind of matches my dress. And then we have to order our ropes,
For
which
the
I
hand
thought we were gonna
fasting.
do this weekend, but I think time just got away from us. Because Ray is coming up with a knot for all of us to tie in a hand fasting rope
Ceremony.
ceremony.
Yep.
Yep. And then we're currently looking for a lifestyle friendly place to have our reception once we get back. Because while we're down there, we're doing the commitment ceremony. It's just the four of us.
Yeah,
So
it's
no
just the 4 of
friends,
us.
no family. We're starting our relationship out just the four of us together, knowing that that's where we start. And that's where it'll come back to. And, if everything else happens, we come back together as just the 4 of us. So, actually, our oldest daughter did that. Her and her husband eloped, and that's what she said. She's like, "We're starting our marriage out just the 2 of us," um, realizing that if something happens along the way, it's still just the 2 of us sometimes.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. That's a great way to think about it.
yeah.
And then a month and a half after we get back from the cruise, we have our country concert, which we're excited for.
Well, before that, we have the takeover, right? No, the takeover's the weekend after
That's
After
the
country
weekend
after,
concert.
yeah.
after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a busy time coming up,
Busy
so,
summer.
yep.
Um, like we've said before, we love live music. Always try to, find places for that. I think we'll wind up going to Shiners before country concert. Yeah. So I think we're planned in June for sure that we're going. Yeah. So, yep. And then after country concert, we have a takeover through Original Swingstas. Yeah. And a couple more concerts. I think Ray and I might be going to VOA with J and K. You guys are still possibly thinking about it, but you might have a work trip or
Yeah,
something.
I might have a work trip, so,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we're looking forward to the summer, and the weather's turned, it's getting nicer out, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
we're we're excited,
Yeah.
so I just can't wait to put my, toes in the Caribbean again.
This man has bought a captain's hat, guys, for the sell-away party.
That's right.
Yeah.
Captain Hat and me over here. Yeah,
He looks so cute in it.
I know.
He looks so cute in it that I threw him out of my office when he showed up in it the other day.
You're like, "You
I'm
look
going to gue I
ridiculous."
haven't heard the story, but I'm going to guess that was all he was wearing when he showed up.
No, no, actually, it was not, surprisingly. However, that I have had that done to me before.
You did that last night, didn't you?
Well,
To me?
Yeah, I did that last night to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed up with the captain's
I
hat.
I had, my my ex-fiancé show up in the doorway one time with his cowboy hat,
And that was
and
it?
it wasn't on the head, on top of his head.
Sexy.
Yeah, sexy.
Alright, so let's
Alright,
get to these
let's get
questions.
to these questions.
So first question, how do you handle different expectations between partners?
So, this is a good question, and also kinda need a little more context too, but I'm gonna answer it the way I think he meant it, when we received this question. And that is if you're going out to like a lifestyle party or a club or something like that, and
Where there could
you
be potential.
yeah, and you have different expectations of the night than your partner does.
Yeah,
And
so
I think it all comes down to communication.
and I think I'll add to that, though, it definitely comes down to communication, that also ties back into your boundaries, um, but what Charlie and I learned a couple of years ago was we don't we
A
don't have
script.
expectations for the night.
Mhm.
We call it a script. Um, so we go in with our boundaries, but we don't go in with, "I expect that
We're
I'm
gonna be
gonna do this
playing or
this
yeah.
Yeah.
night, or you're gonna do this night, or we're gonna do this night." We just don't do that because it leads to disappointment, sometimes leads to an argument, and so we just don't do it. Um
Yeah, you can have that conversation, "Hey, if this
Right.
happens, how do you feel about this?" Or, "Can you do this?" Or, "Can I do that?" Or things like that,
Right.
but you don't go in with expectations. Going in with expectations just means you're gonna let yourself or your partner down,
Yeah.
and like Marie said, could lead to arguments and, things like that, so
Very much
um
so. And I think it kills a lot of the fun of it.
Yeah, the
yeah.
The
spontaneity of it
spontaneity
is
is
part
a
of the
big part of
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not knowing what's gonna happen that night is part of the fun, and if you've got this script locked in your head that this is what I want, to happen tonight, or this is what I think is gonna happen tonight, and all of a sudden it doesn't happen for some reason, yeah, it just goes away with your spontaneity. Your spontaneity goes away, so some of the fun goes away because you're just constantly looking for that right scenario to fit the script that you
Right.
came up with, and that's a problem, folks. You can't script other people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge problem. You can script yourself all day long. You can say, "This is how I'm gonna act. This is how I'm gonna behave. This is what I'm gonna wear. This is what I'm gonna do." But in the end, the only person that you have control over is yourself.
Right, I mean, you can even have, a date planned with another couple, knowing that it will more than likely end up in bed. Something happens with one partner, it's
Yeah.
like, we can't do this
Yeah,
tonight.
I mean, just for instance, the first time you alls went to the Yellow Rose, I was planning on going. I had an outfit picked. I started feeling sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
I I didn't even have the wherewithal or energy to get up and go upstairs and even think about getting ready, let alone going out and being social, and I just wasn't feeling it.
No.
Nobody was, I mean, everybody asked, of course, "Are you really sure if it's okay for us to go?" And so I think that ties back into the communication, like, and you know, and I had to say, because Nicole sometimes, come back and ask me again, and I'm like, "Honey, I told you I'm fine with it. I don't say things that I don't mean." I can't say that I've always been that way, but because I've learned not to be a people pleaser. Because when you say things that you don't really mean, sometimes it's in a people pleasing effort. You wanna do something for somebody else, but, so for instance, in the past, I may have done something like saying, "Yeah, sure, go," and then sat here butthurt all night and upset because they went. You know what I mean? And then it's like, "Wait a minute, that."
And that yeah, that kinda ties back into that question with
Yeah.
Yeah,
expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
that they did what I told them to do,
Yeah.
I told them I was fine, and I essentially lied.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
and I have gone through this
Mhm.
before, and it's like,
Ray and I
"Wait a minute,
have.
I wasn't being
Yeah.
honest." And likewise, though, I am to the point nowadays where no, if I'm not okay, and in particular, after going through some of my surgeries and stuff, there were a few nights I had to tell Ray, like, "No,
Ray, you mean Charlie?
or Charlie, I'm not okay with you going out. I need you here with me this
Yeah.
evening," or I may say, "Yes, but please, I
Be home by a certain
be home by a
time.
certain time. I'm gonna need to go to bed, and you're likely gonna wake me up if you're coming in after that, and then I won't be able to sleep anymore."
Yeah.
So, just yeah, I think that communication definitely has to be big key.
Yeah, and then
Um,
I
Yeah.
think
with
the
the
other way you
expectation.
can read into this question too, is if you had different expectations on how you wanna be in the lifestyle. Are you swinging? Are you polyamorous?
Right.
Or even in sexual relations, like,
Yeah.
perhaps, one partner likes to do something and that another one doesn't like to do.
Mhm.
But again, that still comes down to communication.
Mhm.
Like, "No, I don't like doing that, but Nicole might," right? So, but everybody knows that, so I'm not expected to, I don't feel expected to perform in a certain way that, is not enjoyable to me.
Once again, it comes down to communication, talking to your primary partner, your possible sexual partners. Communication is a number one. You never wanna just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, let's go fuck."
Yeah.
I mean, alright,
Well,
so, hold on, Ray.
We were both thinking this, but
All 3 of
but
you.
all honestly, she didn't just walk up to us and say that. I mean, we had already been out on several dates
No.
together, and
No, no,
Yeah.
no. So, Ray and I've been telling people, like, you have to look at Ray and just be like, "Hey, I wanna fuck you."
Yep.
'Cause
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say a big part of it is I'll flirt and
Yep.
everything else,
I
but I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
be
be
that
that
creep
creep
that,
that,
okay,
okay,
You don't have the
you got to
expectation.
really
really
be
be
blunt
blunt
with
with
me.
me.
And
And
it's
it's like,
like,
all
all right,
right, I'm 100% game, but you got to be blunt with me.
Yeah. Alright, next question.
so the next question, we got submitted was, "How do you stay emotionally present with multiple people?"
I mean, it's kinda like, your primary partners. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to work at it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
not
mean,
something that
it's
just comes naturally.
no, I mean, you work at it and you make time. Like, this week was hell work with me this week. I was really busy, so I
Yeah,
was a little absent, and I told everybody, "Hey, I'm a little absent this week because my calendar is just booked."
yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not much of a chatter through the week either,
yeah,
'cause, I've I've got lots of stuff going on at the
yeah,
house. Ray's way of communicating is sending reels
Yeah.
mhm,
and
I'll just send reels when I have time to send reels. And
yeah.
I'm sure you guys, it's like, ding, 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 ding.
yeah, yeah.
Ray's taking a break.
Race
Going
taking a
Yeah.
break.
going to be honest with you, Ray, if I'm really, really busy, sometimes when it starts ding, ding, dinging, I'm like, "I love that man, but it's gotta go on mute for about an hour."
That's fair
I'll
enough.
I'll watch these when I get done with what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And that's
but
perfectly fine. I have time at that moment that
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you're gonna find this amusing, all this too
Yeah,
funny not
and
to share.
honestly, no, and I love
yeah,
that though because it
just means
shows
that
that
he's thinking of
yeah,
us.
you're thinking of us and everything, and same thing for me, like, I have 21 staff that report to me. My work days, depending on the circumstances, sometimes I don't have a minute, even to myself, so, but then there's other days where, when I take a break, can
Watch the 20 reels that Ray sent.
yeah, and maybe send a
Yeah.
few. My thing is typically I say good morning. If I'm in a real mood that morning, I might send a few.
Yeah,
At night, I might send a few and say good night.
Yeah.
During the
yeah,
week anyway, and then we're
right.
together on the
Yeah.
weekends. So, but I think, too, I'll add to this. How do you stay emotionally present with multiple people? At least for us, like within our quad. And so, when you're talking about emotional presence, and I don't want to say that couple other people outside of the relationship that we don't have an emotional connection with them, like J and K. I consider them dear friends. Um, but, and if something went wrong, absolutely, we would all, like, give our emotional support to them,
Mhm,
if it was something that they wanted to share with us. But the nice thing about being in a quad like we are is that there's 4 of us.
Mhm.
And but I don't know, I never get that feeling that somebody's left out or I'm being left out or, whereas that is a risk that you run with some other dynamics
mhm.
when you have an uneven number of people or maybe not everybody, interacts or has a relationship with everybody that's, it's yeah,
It's
it can
hard.
create that
Yeah, so Ray and I we were in a throuple
situation.
for a little bit. It got to the point I felt like I was a third wheel, because, they had a relationship. I figured out that that relationship was not for me. But it was a new relationship, so they wanted to spend a lot of time together, so I felt like a third wheel. So it's hard sometimes, and it's not always like that with thruples, just I mean, we're not
Yeah, we're not
bad-mouthing them
bashing
at
thruples or anything
no,
like that. Sometimes it works out for
right,
everybody.
but what Marie's trying to say is, if Charlie isn't available for her, Ray might be available, or I might be
Yes. Yeah.
available. Um, you
And
know
if one person is particularly having a rough time with something, whether it's an illness or other relationships we may have, issues with other relationships we may have, we all tend to provide that person,
Mhm,
with the majority of our emotional support, just as you
right,
would in any other committed relationship.
right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like a regular marriage, regular relationship, you have to work at it.
Yeah.
And there's been times where it's like, "Hey, I need you to come to me."
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
totally fine. I can look at Ray and say that. I can look at Charlie and say that. I can look at Maria and say that. "Hey, I need you at this moment."
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes, it is more work because you are dealing with more people, but I also think that also helps make it easier.
Yeah.
I'm going, work is completely stupid or something is completely stupid. It needs my total, but you need help from someone. There's other people.
Right.
It's not just me.
Right, and it's and right, and so so there's availability of more support.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that availability as well. So I think, for us, we balance it out pretty well. But like Nicole said, I mean, it takes I don't want to say so much work, it takes thought.
Thought. Well,
You
yeah.
have to be thoughtful and you have to be emotionally intelligent to keep things balanced because really all of life is about balance.
Right. And we're very good at communicating with the four of us. So we've learned everyone's boundaries and I might be worried about Marie and like, okay, I know if I ask her, she might be a little upset about it. I can look at Charlie and be like, hey, what's going on? Or what should I do in this moment? Things like that. So, all right. So next question. What's one thing you do to avoid misunderstandings?
I think one thing that and we haven't had to do it in a long time, but Nicole introduced the talking stick, which we've talked about in the past.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So Ray and I were going through a hard time, started going to therapy and stuff. And um, I'm not sure if it was me or him. And we were arguing essentially. And um, apparently I wasn't giving Ray the opportunity to speak. So we were sitting there, I grabbed a bottle of water, and I was like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do. You get the talking object," and it could be anything, it could be a chapstick. Um, Once you're done, you've said what you wanna say, you can hand off the talking stick. So it lets that person um,
Finish it.
fully finish what they're trying to say. Because you know, you could say something and then be like, "Hold on, that sounded shitty. That's not how I meant for it to come out." And you can say, "I apologize. I didn't mean to say it that way." But whenever you're in the middle of an argument, you're both trying to compete on, I wouldn't say getting the last word, but somebody says something and you immediately want to defend yourself. So the talking object definitely helps.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it's even almost a bit of a it's almost a bit of a psychological trick in one way, and this is why I suggest you have something that literally you can hold up enough to be for it to be seen because it just helps you focus on what that person is saying, and also
To
helps
understand, not just
right,
listen.
right. Helps you know when things are done
Mhm.
so that you are not talking over each other, because when you start talking over each other, then it really is difficult to listen to understand.
Another thing I think we do, and I think we all do it at this point without ever even thinking about it, is restating what Nicole's told me something and me, okay, this is what I heard.
Yes.
And she can correct me. That's not what I meant. And
Right.
believe that's not what she meant. Okay. Let me understand what you mean then.
Right, because like I said, you could say something, it came out wrong. If you're in the middle of an argument, it's like and you're trying to talk over each other, you don't have the chance to correct, what you're saying. It's like, "Hey, that came out completely wrong. These aren't the words that, should have been used in that just because it didn't come out right." But as far as, like, just regular everyday misunderstandings, I think it's like if one person says something and somebody else has a question about it, like,
A
"Is that
lot
really what you meant?"
I think a lot of it comes down to being good listeners.
Mhm.
Not only communication, but being a good listener and listening with purpose.
Well, that is part of communication.
Yeah.
Active listening
Active listening.
is a very big part of
Yeah.
communication.
Mhm.
Um, Responding, letting people know that they're being heard. And so, for instance, like, right, saying, "This is what I heard." That lets the other person know that you heard them and also helps clear up any misunderstandings because then it
Right.
gives it, "This is what I heard." And that gives the other person that if that's not exactly what they meant or it didn't come across to that person. It may not even be that you said something off or rude or wrong. It's just we all have different levels of understanding, or I can say one thing to one person and it mean one thing, and I can say the same exact thing to another person and it's going to mean something different to them. That's just human nature.
Right, and whenever
Right.
you're repeating saying, "Okay, this is what I heard," you're not using the same
Right.
words that they used.
Right.
You're saying it in a way, "Okay, this is what I heard,"
This is my
"This
understanding,
is
or
my
yeah.
understanding of what you just said."
Or what I'm hearing you say is, and
Right,
putting it in your words how you understood what they said, and again, that gives you the opportunity to clear up any misunderstandings,
right,
before they get out of control.
yeah.
All
Alright,
right. The last question that we have, and this is kind of, I guess, more geared towards Nicole and Ray than I and Marie, is how do you approach the subject with your kids slash family about being in an open or ethical non-monogamy relationship?
so yeah, it is pointed
And they knew something was going on. We taught them situational awareness little too well because when we told them, they were asking by name of the people that we had been chatting with.
Ah,
So they picked up what was going on before we ever
before.
thought they did.
Yeah. I think Marie and I think our kids,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again,
we're at a don't ask, don't tell.
when you talk about situational awareness, I can tell you both. I mean, my son-in-law grew up, not exactly on the streets of Chicago, but and yes, I taught my daughter situational awareness. Maybe that was just part of being a single mom and having been through some of the things that I had been through at that point in my life, but I have a feeling that they suspect, and I have a feeling that, the reason that they don't say anything is because it's our business, and they respect our business the same as I've always done with them. My kids are a little bit older, but they've always been very mature for their ages, and I've never really stuck my nose into their personal relationships. If they wanna share something with me, I'm open to hearing it, but, I'm not going to pry, and I think that's kind of, their way of looking at it as well.
Yeah. Well,
Um
Like Ray said, it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it isn't like you're like, your children know us by name,
I mean,
just
yeah,
don't know how deep that
if you guys say
relationship
that you're
is.
doing something or, you know,
They know that you're
are
here often, so,
yeah,
I mean,
are you guys going with Ray and Nicole?
yeah.
And vice versa. Our kids know that we're in this relationship with you. So if we're doing something, hey, are Charlie and Marie going with you? Or we're going to something of theirs, are Charlie and Marie gonna come too?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, but as far as
How do you
oh,
I mean,
approach that
how
I
do
with
you
your
mean,
approach
kids?
it?
I
Huh?
think it was a little bit more awkward with, like, your mom and dad. My mom was I guess my mom I kinda got caught, in a way because we
Yeah,
were going to go do a festival thing, and I was like, "Well, depends on how I'm feeling." It was in a group chat. "I'm getting a vasectomy, and
like
it's the next weekend."
yeah,
Yeah, if I'm not walking well, then no. If everything's fine, then fine.
I might need to take some breaks or something, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well
Well, why do you need a vasectomy? Nicole's been fixed for years.
it's like, "Alright, let's
Let's
move
have this
over to a private
conversation.
chat a conversation about
Yeah, as
this."
far as
Yeah.
my parents, so we moved my parents into our home a few years ago, and Ray and I had talked about it because, it's not like we bring people there, but, we go out a lot. We do things and, have clothing that, they may see or something. We were like, "Okay, this is the situation. We just don't want you to feel like, we're cheating on each other and you're trying to keep it a secret from the other person." So and I guess it comes down to your comfortability as well. Um, Being able to approach someone, I think if you have a group of people that you wanna tell, maybe approach the person that you feel closest to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to, the most judgmental person first,
No, and
you
you
know?
also gotta think of kids' ages too. Like, well, our
Absolutely.
kids are adults.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
If we're talking little kids here, they don't have the emotional intelligence to understand the opening what an open relationship
Well,
means.
and I would even say I'm just gonna say that here's the thing. If you really feel strongly that you need to tell somebody, then by all means, you need to tell them. However, if you don't feel strongly about somebody needing to know, that's well within your rights. This is your personal life, your personal relationships. You're not required, to divulge everything about your life to anybody that you don't want to.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. I have a family member who, feels like, that has had a troubled past and feels like they have to prove every day to everybody in the world that they've changed and they've moved past these things. And I'm like, you
You don't
don't
know you
you
don't know
don't
anyone an
you don't
explanation.
owe anybody an explanation about what you're doing, where you're going, or anything else. And, if you think you need to tell them because 'cause you're concerned if they find out they're gonna be disappointed in you, well, you know what? If you didn't do anything wrong, that's on them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's not
It's a people-pleasing
yeah,
thing.
it's a people pleasing thing. It's like you don't need to do that. It's none of their business.
Right. Now, back to the younger kids, if you're in an open relationship or you're getting into a poly relationship and you have young kids, and that other couple is gonna be around, it's not like you have to look at them and say, "Hey, this is gonna be your other mom and dad."
Yeah.
It's kinda like dating. You're not, You don't dating as a single person, you're not gonna bring that kid around and say, "Hey, this is your new dad," or, "Hey, this is your new mom." "Hey, these are our friends. This is my friend." Um, you know, that way, you have to give them time to figure out what's not really figure out what's going on, but just be a kid. I mean, why do you need to look at some your young child and say, "Oh, hey, I'm dating this person." You probably don't do that if you're in a single relationship.
Yeah.
You don't look at your
I
kids and
think
say,
you
"Hey, I'm
just
dating
need
them."
time and let
Right.
them
I
figure it
mean,
out.
our
Yeah.
Yeah,
grandkids have been around you guys. Your grandkids have been around as far as they know,
we're just
we're
friends.
just friends. Just like
Right,
they have friends, we're friends. I
right.
mean,
There's absolutely
you know,
no sexual
no, yeah.
contact
You
or
just don't do
nothing.
anything in front of these kids that you wouldn't do in front of anybody's kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
Like,
Right.
mean,
your own kids, like, most adults are not, running around having sex where their kids can see them. So,
well, they shouldn't, but
yeah, I
yeah.
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
you
but,
know,
if it's
but
like
do we hug or, kiss each other on the cheek or hold hands sometimes or what? Yeah, absolutely. But
Mhm.
like a friendly
that's a
type
friendship.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some friends are that close and I
Well,
can,
all of our grandchildren know we're friends. We love each other as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So back to the question at hand, I think it's up to your how comfortable you are,
mm,
and you don't like Marie said, you don't owe anybody an explanation
yeah,
on
if
your
you feel like
personal life.
you need
If
to,
you need to, then yeah.
just
But I also encourage you to come with knowledge because there are gonna be questions.
there's gonna be a lot of questions. You need to
Yes.
expect those questions.
Yeah.
Like you said, knowledge. Do your research. Hey, this is why I'm in this. This is what I'm doing. Because like you said, there's gonna be questions. There's gonna be
Mhm.
questions that you didn't think that they were gonna
well,
ask.
and it isn't even so much knowledge as reasoning. So that's where the questions are going to come from a very personal level. And I think this kind of um, ties back to a question we had a few weeks ago. Somebody asked, how do I convince my partner, my spouse, whatever the situation was, to be in a polyamorous relationship? Our response was, you
You
know,
can't convince
you can't
anyone.
convince anybody, but more importantly, if you're going to broach this topic or this subject, with your partner, be prepared as to why you want to do this. And I think it's the same thing as if you're telling anybody that you're close to, that you have a close personal relationship with. Be prepared to answer questions about, yeah, why you're doing this, what you're getting out of it. Um, because in the end, basically, what those people are going to want to make sure is that this is a good situation for you, that you're happy and you're not in any harm's way. Be prepared to answer questions like, what are you doing to protect yourself? You know, both physically and from, potential, STDs. Like, be prepared to answer those questions because if this person's close enough to you that you feel like you need to tell them, you need
They're
to be
gonna be
prepared.
concerned.
They're going to be concerned and they're going to have questions of a very personal nature that you need to be prepared to answer.
And with children, keep it age appropriate with what your responses are going to be.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just keep it simple, period. If you feel like you need to tell somebody, tell them. But again, you just less is more sometimes.
Yes.
That is the honest to God truth.
Don't dig your own grave.
Yeah, don't dig your
Yeah.
own grave.
Alright, well, we'll wrap this one up. It's been a great talk,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good talk. Shit swingers say, we had one earlier, but do we have any more on parting from last night? I can't think of anything besides what I said earlier.
I don't know.
I mean, I
Once
think
again, we
I
don't
only
write
said
things
once
down.
last night, vanilla bar, vanilla bar.
Yeah, yeah.
To me?
I
No, you
yeah,
didn't.
I'm pretty sure it was to you, but,
There were some other
you
people
did a
that he
lot
could have
better.
said it to, and it
Yeah.
would have meant a lot more. That's all I'm gonna say.
Somebody took their
Yeah.
pants off last night at Vanilla Bar, and
Yeah,
the
the
bartender was like, "Put
put
them
your
back
shorts back
on,
on.
please."
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
they had a bodysuit on, they were technically covered,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it
not
was out
just
of
much.
was
dress
gonna
code.
draw
Yeah,
too
it was
much
out
It
of
was
attention.
out
dress
of
It
code.
dress
was out of
code.
It
dress
was out of
code,
dress code.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
Can't take
so
some people anywhere.
No, she was just trying to have a good time, and she
Yeah.
didn't realize, so
Yeah.
but yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for listening today and check out our Facebook page. Click subscribe on the podcast where you listen to podcasts. And we're working on the next podcast for next weekend, and it's gonna be a good one.
Awesome.
It's gonna be, and we'll give you a little insight. Ray actually came up with the idea, and we're running with it.
Well, it was actually after a conversation of a couple that we talked to that
Yeah,
was telling us about, and it was like, we talk about all the good stuff. We need to talk
about
about
the bad
that.
stuff. So we're gonna have one when shit
Sure.
goes wrong.
When shit goes wrong. Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about bad experiences, and we'll hopefully you guys can learn from some bad experiences.
Yeah, don't
So
worry. I mean, if you were part of our bad experiences, we're not gonna name names,
no,
just situations.
just
So,
situations. So all right, guys, thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, night, and everyone have a great day.
bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The polyquad life is a journey into a world that loves knows no limits. Where swinging fun meets love, hearts entwined.